Welcome, you guys, to day 4. Tonight is Accentuate. It's all about bringing your bigger design pieces together with smaller accent pieces, wood and metal, and how to incorporate your trip to Home Goods or whatever store you go to for all your frames and table lamps and fun little trays and all of that stuff. How to buy the little pieces of decor that bring the whole room together. Can you not hear me?
I hear you. Janice doesn't.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, we'll just chalk that one up to Mercury retrograde. Janice, let me know in the comments if you can hear me. No, she didn't. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. And trust that it's all going to work itself out. Okay. So, you've picked your color palette. You've thought about or started to implement your statement wall. And Ricky, I love that you shared yours in the group. That is like the simplest way to DIY a statement wall. Painter's tape and a couple of cans of paint. It's amazing. It can really enhance the whole space. So tonight we're going to talk about metals and wood and how to infuse them into any room. So we have 6 different types of metals that you can pick from. There's tons of metals out there, but these are the 6 main ones. And I'm also going to talk a little bit to how they can support your inner well-being, your emotional and your mental well-being. So let's dive in to the list of metals that you can bring into any room in your home. So we'll start out with bronze. I'm sure when you go out looking for like bathroom fixtures or faucets or, when you're getting towel racks, you're like, what metal do I choose if you're doing your bathroom or if you're doing your kitchen? This is most often going to play out in your kitchen fixtures, your bathroom fixtures, and knobs on furniture. Those are the 3 main areas metal is going to play out. Oh, also in light fixtures, okay? So there's 4 main areas. Kitchen fixtures, bathroom fixtures, furniture pulls, and light fixtures. So like I would call it brass, wall sconces over here, and then so here's a great example. I've got brass wall sconces over here, and then I've got I'm gonna call it an oil rubbed bronze up there on the ceiling. They don't match. And me personally, I don't like the combo, but that's only because I don't like brass. It's too harsh. So we've got bronze. So if you go into your Home Depot, your Lowe's, or your hardware store, and you're looking at, say, oil rubbed bronze, that's a deeper, more brown. Sometimes it can be black with some tan undertones that come through. And that promotes, are you ready? Sensuality, calmness, and comfort. It's a very warm tone. We had this in our old bathroom, and it's got a very warming, very sensual vibe to it. It's a very dark metal. The second metal is copper, and I'm actually going to incorporate copper in our bathroom. I thought I was going to do gold, but copper is also very warm. It's a very warming metal, and it influences love, sensuality, prosperity, fertility, grounding, and are you ready for this one? It can support weight loss. Why? Because it influences your circulation and your blood flow. So it can influence your metabolism as well. How cool is that? Yes. Yes, it's true. Gold. That's metal number 3. Obviously, wealth. When we think of gold, when we think of pyrite, fool's gold, we think of wealthy, we think of money. Grandeur, sparkle, glitz. Gold in particular really carries those warming frequencies, which really beefs you up a little bit. And it can also, just like copper, it's very similar properties to copper. It's great in supporting physical healing because that warming, it energizes the body. It gets the body moving. It brings the heat a little bit. Now we're on to silver, number 4. Silver is, if I were to equate silver to like an astrological sign, I would put it in the same realm as Aquarius. Okay, it's a very modern metal. It brings a very modern feel to a space. It's very industrial and high tech. It's also linked to the moon. So if you like working with the moon cycles, silver can enhance the moon's frequencies in your life. And a really cool thing I never knew about silver is that it's a great energy cleanser. It has cleansing properties. So if you have it in a room, it can just lighten up the energy, clear the energy, just like sage or Palo Santo or anything like that. Yes, great for the office because it gets your brain going. It gets you thinking. And then number 5 is aluminum, which again, think about the colors, okay? So silver and aluminum are similar in the color aspect. And aluminum is industrial, invention, unconventional, and genius. So silver and aluminum have similar properties. And also, how can you use these metals in really unique ways? So I'll share an example. I've got one more to talk about, and I'll share some examples of how I've seen these metals used in really unique, like statement wall ways, and some ideas that I want to put into play for our bathroom. So the 6th metal is iron. Iron. And we know that the wrought iron pipe shelving is all the rage right now. People love it. The nice black pipe with wood shelves, and I almost built a whole closet out of this, but we ended up selling the house before I got to that. So it's a very grounding and it's a very rejuvenating metal. Okay, so those are your 6 metals. We have bronze, copper, gold, silver, aluminum, and iron. Now, here's some cool ways that you can incorporate them that you might not think of right off the bat. So there is an Instagram account I follow, and they live in a farmhouse, and they had a barn, and the barn had aluminum metal roofing. They needed a ceiling for their downstairs. So they ended up taking off the aluminum roofing, and they kept the pieces that were in good shape. They were all had rust from water damage, but they kept the pieces that had minimal rust because they liked the weathered look of it, and they used it on their ceiling. So their whole ceiling had this corrugated aluminum metal, and then they covered the seams with stained wood. Amazing. So cool. It was so cool. I'm like, that is so my style. If I lived in a farmhouse, that would be on my ceilings. And I love also repurposing materials like that. The project that I am wanting to tackle is we have some copper plumbing pipe out in the barn, and I want to make that into a towel rack for our bathroom. Because right now we've got these like dinky, I'll call them, towel holders, and they're on the door and they're in weird spots and it doesn't make sense. And I just want one really nice statement towel rack. And I'm like, the copper would look so good and warm against that green. So I'm going to DIY it, but then I'm also going to bring that copper energy into that bathroom. And that makes me so excited because bathrooms for me are just, I really want them to feel sensual. I want them to feel spa-like. I want them to feel relaxing. And Ricky says she loves metal ceilings, tin, and more. Yes. There's so many ways that you can incorporate metal on your ceilings. It's beyond. You can go traditional Victorian route and get the tiles and do the tin tiles, and they come in so many different colors and so many different styles. You could do the corrugated route. You could do, God, I don't even know. Sky's the limit, you guys. Sky's the limit. Okay. So how do you choose? And are there rules around using metals throughout your house and in the room that you're working on? So my suggestion is that you pick 2 or 3 metals for this room, but be sure that you're going to use them throughout the rest of the house. And it's not a rule. It's not something that's hard and fast that you have to follow. I don't know about you, but I used to be that kid in high school that I would never mix black and brown together. If I had black pants on, my belt was black and my shoes were black. And no other parts of my outfit it was all black. And if I was wearing brown, it was all brown. And if I didn't have a brown belt, I was not going to wear brown pants because you could not mix and match. That's not true anymore. People are throwing those rules out the window. So pick 2 or 3 metals that you would just love to use throughout your whole house. Because what that's going to do is it's going to ground the style of your entire home and expand beyond the realms of this one room that you're working in. And so for me, I'm like, oh, but I wanted gold up in the bedroom. I don't really think that's a big deal to mix the gold and the copper because the bedroom is like way far away from the bathroom. But if you live in a smaller house and you're walking through and there's like 7 different metals playing out and you've got like different combinations in each room, that's going to be really dizzying on your eyes and on your senses. And especially if you are like me, I'm Taurus and Libra. So my environment, I am very sensitive to those really, really subtle changes. So I'm the one that creates symmetry on the mantle. You gotta have 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and 2 of the same candles because my eyes will go buggy if it's not balanced. Colors drive me crazy. I think I mentioned the yellow color we had was giving me a terrible headache, and I didn't realize it till after I painted. So it's the same for metals. You want to pick like a group of 2 or 3 that you're like, okay, I'm going to use them throughout this whole house. So that way you're not moving through your house and it's jarring shifts of energy. Okay. So what's the overall intention for your room and for your house? That's how you're going to go and pick the metals. And of course, the number 1 rule is you pick what you love. You pick, like, do you like the look of it? Great. That's number one. That's the most important thing. So the other thing is that when you are mixing tones together, it's always good to have a little contrast in there. You don't want it to be so super close together that you can't tell the difference, or that the different color variations of the metals get lost on each other. So like up here I have gold tones, but then my candles are silver. And you can categorize it into tones, okay, like colored tones, and then you can mix and match that way. Like the iron can be black. So if you put that with gold, or that with bronze, or that with copper, I wouldn't say not so much bronze, but copper. And then the silver too. So if you do silver and iron, that's going to have a more cooling effect in the room and feel, versus if you do iron and gold, or iron and copper. I don't know, something about that feels really rich to me. I still feel that way with black and brown, but tan and black are different. No, it's true. But you got to remember, right? It's all neutrals. And you can mix and match neutrals however you want, in whatever you way. You cannot go wrong with neutrals. And metals are really neutral tones. So there you go. So now we've talked about metals. You're going to pick 2 or 3 metals that you want to use in the room you're working on, but then also keep in mind carrying them throughout the house. Now we're on to wood. Wood. So you want to choose 2 or 3 wood tones that you want to use throughout your house. So my go-to suggestion, the way I like to do wood tones, is, again, you pick 2 or 3, but you definitely, in this area, you definitely want the contrast. You definitely want contrast. So there's a couple of things to watch out for too, because wood stains can have very potent undertones, and you might not notice them until you put them in your room and you put them up against the color. Let's see, what's a good example? I was going to put some stains on a piece of wood so you could see, but I didn't get around to that. So in general, for dark woods, if you want to go with dark, you want to watch out for red undertones. I would say look for dark tones that are brown, that don't pull any red. But that's my personal preference. Maybe you want the red in there. Like mahogany can pull red. And it also depends on the wood that you're staining. So there's that. So you want to watch for too much red, or how that dark stain plays with the color of the room, because it can warm it up or it can cool it down. So if you're going with light woods, you want to watch for yellow and orange undertones. And then, so you have your main color and you have your color palette, then you're going to pick your wood tones that play off with that, okay? So like Gunstock by Minwax can have a really red undertone. And Ipswich Pine by Minwax is a great neutral, especially on a pine. In the right application, it's a gorgeous stain. In the wrong application, with, say, like in a yellow room, it's going to look really yellow, and it's going to give your space a really dated feel. This room, you can see it's mahogany. This whole room is mahogany. It's very dark, Because we've got the wainscoting halfway up, and then it's around all the doors or all the mahogany and everything. In with the wrong color combo, it's going to look red. And I'm actually thinking of doing a tan to warm it up a little bit and to pull out those browns a little bit more. And so say you have a dark wood, say you have a mahogany, then you can pair a lighter like golden oak, something really just like neutral, middle of the line. There's enough contrast in there to make it look really sharp, really, really sharp. And as always, you want to pick the choices that feel like, yes, I love it. Doesn't matter if anybody else loves it. It only matters if you love it because it's your home and it's the place where you are sinking into your office chair to get creative, where you're laying down in bed to get some good rest. It's the place where you're falling onto your couch after a long day, taking your shoes off and relaxing. So you want whatever you choose to light you up. Now, how do you incorporate these metals and these woods? So I've broken it down into 8 categories that you can shop for to bring these accents into your room that do not involve ripping out wood trim, redoing, sanding, nothing. Take a trip to Home Goods, spend $100, have a great time. Okay? Lamps, candlesticks, picture frames, vases, light fixtures. Okay, that one might be a little DIY, but you know. Curtain rods. Don't forget curtain rods. Trays. I have an aluminum tray over here with black and gold on it, and I love it. I love it. Actually, my favorite way to accent with metals is mercury glass. I love it because it mixes the silver and the gold together, and some of my pieces are more silver and others are more gold. And then I play that out through the whole house. So now there's this whole big style going through the whole house. And wall hangings. So upstairs, for example, in my guest bedroom, I got this big monumental wall hanging piece from Home Goods. And it's got wood and metal on it. It's got 3 different wood tones on it, so it almost has like an ombre type feel. And then right in the middle is tin. And it looks so good. And right then and there, you're like, okay, I have my wood tones that I can play within, and I have my metal. So if you take that tin and those wood tones and you put like an oil rubbed bronze with it or a wrought iron, now you're pulling it all together. So it's just about mixing and matching. So yeah, that's amazing. That is it. And tomorrow night, we're going to come back and I want to know what metals you chose and how you plan to incorporate your metal in your wood. And if you go with wood, just choose, do I want light wood or do I want dark wood? Because that will help you narrow down how you want to pick your wood accents. Because if you're, say, going to the store to get a table lamp and you get you can get faux wood lamps. I have one in our living room, and it just has to fall in that dark category. It doesn't even necessarily have to match, but you just want to watch the undertones in it. And then we're going to start talking tomorrow night about where to start and how to get into action and how to bring your plan to life. So good. So good. I love your cat. Oh my gosh.